AfriSoul presents Nickel Millionaire 2.0, where your dreams of becoming a millionaire can come true, not once, but twice. In the first 2 months, one lucky AfriSoul subscriber will win a cool $1 million. Another lucky winner will take home another $1 million just 2 months after that. But wait, there's more. We've got loads of cash prizes to be won every week. Simply buy a minimum of $10 in credit or data. So the more you buy, the better your chances of hitting the jackpot. Nickel Millionaire 2.0. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. live on GRTS. AfriSoul, creating millionaires, changing lives.
Welcome to the future of transportation in the Gambia. The Bertel Harding Highway, a 22-kilometer double carriageway, is set to revolutionize travel and connectivity in our beloved country. For pedestrians, safety begins at the crossing. Use designated pedestrian crossings marked with patterned reflective signs known as cat eyes to ensure visibility and safety. Communities living along the highway must adapt to new safety measures.
Good evening and welcome to Star TV Newsroom, broadcasting from our studios in Kanifing, along the Bertel Harding Highway. I am Seydou Camara. Here are the headlines. Brikama Area Council still unable to rise up to Western Region's mountain waste challenges. NEA to toughen stance on single-use plastic bag. Gambia to get drugs rehabilitation center as DLEAG lays facilities building block. On international news, South Africa budget, proposed tax rise opposed amid economic challenges. Sri Lanka coconut crisis, shortages, soaring prices, threaten staple food and export. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Many thanks for joining us, and now the news in detail. We begin with the press release from the Gambia Police Force because it is seeking public assistance in locating Abdul Kamara, alias Ramadan, a Sierra Leonean national, who is the principal suspect in the alleged murder in Brufut Heights. The police urge anyone with information on his whereabouts to come forward and assist the police in bringing him to justice. The release ends. Moving on, waste management is one of the existential challenges of the local administrations across the country. Despite their waste management interventions, local governments are still struggling to keep the country's towns and cities clean and healthy at all times. The waste management problem is apparently deepening in the West Coast region as the Brikama Area Council appears unable to rise up to this harsh challenge. A visit to the Sukuta Jabang traffic lights on Tuesday by Star TV has laid bare the inability of the Yankuba Dabo-led Brikama Area Council to ensure environmental cleanliness for tax and rate payers in parts of the West Coast region. Details in this report.
Residents and business operators at the Sukuta Jabang traffic light area have raised concerns over the Brikama Area Council's failure to collect rubbish regularly, despite their financial contributions to the council. They expressed frustration at the lackluster waste management services, urging the council to fulfill its duty and responsibility of maintaining environmental cleanliness at all times. Many residents have now resorted to engaging donkey cart operators to collect waste. They complain that they pay costs ranging from $50 for a bag of rubbish to monthly fees exceeding $1,000 just to keep their surroundings clean and healthy. Kebanyang is one of them.
Every 2 days, 3 days,
every 2 or 3 days, I pay donkey cart owners to collect the rubbish for me. My friend at times helps without charging much. The council rarely addresses our needs, often taking months before they respond.
Rugyatu Jallo, a shop owner, echoed a similar sentiment, criticizing the absence of council services amid mounting cost for alternative waste removal.
The cart owners charge $50 per bag each time, which becomes a substantial amount by the month's end.
To tackle the issue, our Singate, another local resident, has taken it upon herself to collect money from shopkeepers to pay the cart operators. However, this patchy solution underlines the yawning gap in the council's intervention and the community's waste disposal needs.
Moto alai artemi yata moto. Joni kominen tegata 2020 naribe joma bidigibe ben wada 50-50.
The vehicle has not been coming. Now, I collect $10 or $50 from the shopkeepers until we gather about $400 or $500. The landlord contributes the rest to pay the cart owners.
When we are 600, I hate chunky me to manicado. We joma started with 600. We do heavy or we be like Ferrala, Pami Palaka tuna.
Alaji Kebe, a businessman, emphasized the need for a collective responsibility in maintaining a clean and healthy environment while holding the Brikama Area Council accountable for what he called its apparent environmental negligence.
dëgg la moom te xam dëkk moom set moom dafa si bokk parce que set dafa bokk si doomu aadama te set tamit mooy defar dëkk waaw dëkk moom bu setee moom ndaw ñi fa nekk dañuy sawar a liggéey te mbedd.
A clean environment is crucial for a society to thrive. However, people do not have to wait for the local authorities in frequently interventions.
surtout nag waaye nag ñi nga xamante ni ñooy liggéey si mbedd mi tamit ñoom itam ñoo mën a setal fi nga xam ne fi la ñuy liggéey parce que tey boo toogee di xaar ñi nga xam ne ñoo dee bale tali bi tamit.
Residents reported that the council's last visit to the area was over a month ago. They stressed the need for rubbish collection every 2 or 3 days to prevent health hazards and maintain the area's cleanliness. Their growing reliance on donkey cart operators underscores the urgent need for the Brikama Area Council to prioritize waste management and uphold its mandate to serve the community effectively. Mohamed Lamin Ba, Star TV News.
The National Environment Agency is poised to adopt a firmer stance against single-use plastic bags. The agency is upscaling its efforts to consign single-use plastic bags to history through import bags and strengthen enforcement measures. The NEA on Tuesday conveyed a press briefing to reaffirm its commitment to implementing all environmental laws and regulations, including the ban on single-use plastic bags. Harijaju files in this report.
The National Environment Agency on Tuesday renewed its commitment to the fight against the use and importation of plastic bags. On 1st July 2015, the Gambia passed a law prohibiting the use and importation of plastic bags. National Environment Agency is the body tasked with the responsibility of enforcing the law against the use and importation of plastic bags. But the agency has been struggling to stop the importation and use of single plastic bags. Recently, the NEA conducted raids on many businesses, including corner shops, and made huge seizures of plastic bags. The executive director of the National Environment Agency, Dr. Dauda Baji, said his agency is committed to enforcing all applicable environmentally related laws to ensure environmental cleanliness and avert numerous health problems related to environmental mismanagement.
We are going to enforce every law applicable as far as environmental management is concerned. And it has to take a process. Last week, we are involved in issues related to plastic ban. The next, you can also recall that we sent almost 7 press releases or more dealing with different medium of environmental aspect. So we have started and let people realize that this is meant for us. We are not doing it for NEA. We are doing it for the country and the world at large.
According to Dr. Baji, a significant quantity of plastic bags has been seized in various regions across the country during enforcement by the agency and its partners.
So in terms of quantity, we are able to get almost, for BCC and KMC, we are able to get 6,677.78 kilograms of plastic. And maybe you'll see some of them when you go out. In West Coast, we are able to get around 986 kilograms of plastic, while in LRR, 53 kilograms, NBR 35, CRR altogether around 114, and URR 90 kgs of kilograms.
The NEA boss explained that they initially gave the business owners a carrot to desist from the sale and importation of single-use plastic bags, but to no avail. Hence, the agency's decision to deploy a stake.
We engage those businesses to come up with, some of this material that we normally see when they are selling, because we involve them. And one of the concerns, even the peppers, even the sugar, they were able to bring things that you can put your sugar there on paper. But at some point, because the issue of plastic has been coming illegally to a level that it has overshadowed those kind of industries. So the issue of affordability, because the other one, even you have alternatives, then you go for the cheaper alternative. But as time goes on, if the consumption is high, then the issue of the alternative cost will be reduced.
Baji called on the public to support the agency through collaboration to ensure that the goals of the law are met. Plastic bags are non-biodegradable and do not decay for hundreds of years. Studies have revealed that an estimated 300 million plastic bags ended up in the Atlantic Ocean alone. For Star TV News, I am Hadijaju.
The Gambia is poised to build its first ever drug rehabilitation center. The proposed facility will provide a space for rehabilitating and offering correctional services to individuals struggling with addiction. More in this report.
On Tuesday, the country's anti-narcotics agency laid the foundation stone for the center, which will be located in Brunswick in the West Coast region. The facility is estimated to cost over 9 million Gambian dollars. The laying of the foundation stone underscored the commitment of the Gambia government in improving the country's approach to drug-related offenses. The proposed center is expected to be operational after 3 months. The Director General of the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Mr. Demba Cisse, recalled that in the year 2024, the Economic Committee of West African State, ECOWAS, Procurement and Drug Control Unit finalized the terms of the project.
By 2024, the ECOWAS Procurement Unit and Drug Control Unit finalized the terms of this project by awarding the contract to a Gambian contractor, BM Associate. When I took over last July, my team made the necessary follow-ups that eventually led us to where we are today. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, DILIC management is committed to ensuring that our approach to drugs and substance abuse disorders are public health oriented.
The DILIC has been instrumental in addressing the existential challenges of drug trafficking and abuse in the Gambia. The proposed center is anticipated to play a vital role in creating a more rehabilitative environment for offenders by focusing on holistic care and rehabilitation. The idea are to reduce recidivism rates and to foster a healthier society. Senior Associate, BM Associates, Mrs. Mariam Jobate, assured stakeholders about adherence to the project specification.
We assure all stakeholders that BM Associates will strictly adhere to project specifications, ensuring compliance with all technical requirements, safety protocols, and environmental standards. This center will not only serve as a place of healing and transformation, but also as a testament to the collective efforts of national and regional stakeholders in safeguarding the future of our communities.
As the foundation stone is laid, the hopes for a transformative impact on individuals and communities are high, marking a new chapter in the Gambia's commitment to tackling drug abuse and compassion and effectiveness. For his part, Mr. Cloud Kondo, political advisor to the ECOWAS resident representative, reiterated the commitment of ECOWAS to deal with the sub-region's drug challenges. On his part, the Minister of Interior, Honorable Abdoulaye Sanyang, said he was profoundly honored to preside over the historic occasion.
The commitment of ECOWAS in supporting such laudable initiative. The construction of a correction and rehabilitation center is quite fundamental, considering the fact that inmates need to be taken care of, so that when they leave, they become worthy emissaries of their respective communities.
I am deeply honored to lead this historic occasion, marking the laying of the foundation stone for the first ever drug correction, rehab and treatment center in the Gambia. This initiative is indeed a practical step toward catering for the need of people who fall victim of drug abuse, and a clear testament to the policy direction of the government in implementing a balanced, integrated, multi-sectoral approach to drug control.
Among the speakers were Director of Health Services, Dr. Mamadou Tinyasi, and Dr. Samba Fall, DLEC Board Chairman. The ceremony was attended by a distinguished audience, including senior service chiefs and various stakeholders dedicated to supporting the fight against substance abuse and rehabilitation efforts. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Baikor.
We will take a short break from there. The news will continue with News Beyond Our Borders.
Welcome to the future of transportation in the Gambia. The Bertel Harding Highway, a 22-kilometer double carriageway, is set to revolutionize travel and connectivity in our beloved country. For pedestrians, safety begins at the crossing. Use designated pedestrian crossings marked with patterned reflective signs known as cat eyes to ensure visibility and safety. Communities living along the highway must adapt to new safety measures.
sim card boobu noonu la nag xanaa xamul ne sa sim card bu yàgg bi mooy bunta bi laa indi lii nga xam ne mooy or pire.
li nga ma doon wóorloo depuis kay.
jëfandikul sa sim card bu yàgg bii nii nga xam ne soo ko daloo rek am ñetti téeméeri minutes yoo xam ne da nga ko wax doo fay dara seetaan ko nag live ca GRTS télévision talaata bu jot ak alxames bu juróom-ñeneenti waxtu yi tegee waaw waaw.
Welcome back after the short commercial break. If you are just tuning in, this is Star TV News. Now on international news, South Africa will present its annual budget later on Wednesday. It was postponed last month because of a controversial proposal for a tax increase. Some are worried it could derail the government of national unity as it tries to address corruption, unemployment and poverty. Al Jazeera's Fahmida Miller reports from Cape Town, South Africa.
Living hand to mouth. That's how Winnie Zwane describes how she and her family get by each month. Until she lost her job 2 years ago, she was one of the main breadwinners. And now the 10 people living here rely on the income of one.
As an elder, I have to see to it that they all eat. They all have a safe place to stay. I cannot afford at the moment. How will I survive with that 2% extra on the VAT, because it's honestly going to kill me.
And that's exactly what the South African government is considering, raising value-added tax by up to 2% to fund a revenue shortfall. The finance minister wants to raise an additional $10 billion in the next 3 years, but there appears to be little agreement on how he does that. Government coalition partners, civil society and unions say a tax increase is an extreme measure that will only make the poor poorer. Here in Jan Hofmeyer in Johannesburg, people line up for what could be their only meal of the day.
I started during COVID full-time during 2020, and the numbers have increased drastically since. We see that there's a huge demand for food. People continuously phoning us every day, messaging us, inboxing us to help them with food hampers, to buy electricity. Even some cry out to help them pay the rent.
The budget speech is expected to outline how the government will support economic growth in a country that already has one of the world's highest unemployment and poverty rates.
Society is exhausted by a decade plus of state capture and corruption. Workers are struggling, the salaries are not keeping pace with inflation. The goods that workers buy, like electricity, transport, food, often have inflation rates high above the overall inflation rate. So we think there is limited appetite for government to continue to push that.
And those years of corruption and government mismanagement have already caused significant anger. Famida Miller, Al Jazeera, Cape Town, South Africa.
Coconut, a staple in Sri Lanka cooking, faces a severe shortage due to factors like the COVID-19 pandemic, fertilizer bans, economic crisis, and land fragmentations. Despite producing 3.1 billion coconuts in 2023, a 1.3 billion shortfall has driven prices to record highs, forcing households to cut back. More in this report by Al Jazeera.
Dushanti Rupika, like most housewives in Sri Lanka, is spending a lot on coconuts, a staple in Sri Lankan cooking.
Lots of people have gotten used to making do. They cut down on making roti and sambal. Prices have never been this high.
Sri Lankans consumed around 70% of the 3.1 billion coconuts the country produced in 2023, while exporters used the remainder to bring in valuable foreign currency. But now the country is running short, and the gap between supply and demand stands at around 1.3 billion coconuts.
COVID and the fertilizer ban and the economic crisis, everything led to the increased fertilizer cost, and also that all those came and made this disaster or the crisis on the coconut.
The government tightly controls both coconut imports and the use of fertilizer. But with supply running low and demand for Sri Lanka's processed coconut products still high, the industry is asking for at least temporary changes to the rules. Lalitha Ratnayaka is a third-generation grower and exporter. He says Sri Lanka's coconut industry has led the way in innovation and efficiency, both of which are critical during the current shortage.
We are a very efficient industry. If you bring a coconut into the factory, we don't waste anything.
And it's not just the fertilizer shortage and climate change that are causing problems. Harvests have also fallen because some plantation owners say it's now more profitable to sell their land to real estate developers.
The fragmentation of land, using these lands for other projects, and auctioning of land for residential uses is common in urban areas. But we must protect coconut growing land, and everyone must be made aware of this.
The government has created new plantation areas in the north and south of the country, and the industry is confident it can maintain exports despite shortages. Meanwhile, households like Dushanti's are hoping they can continue eating the staples they have enjoyed for so long. Mina Fernandez, Al Jazeera, Colombo.
That story brings us to the end of this edition of Star TV News. But before we go, a recap of our headlines. Brikama Area Council still unable to rise up to Western Region's mountain waste challenges. NEA to toughen stance on single-use plastic bag. Gambia to get drugs rehabilitation center as DLEAG lays facilities building block. On international news, South Africa budget proposed tax rise opposed amid economic challenges. Sri Lanka coconut crisis, shortages, soaring prices threaten staple food and export. I've been your presenter, Seydou Kamara. Bye from me and the rest of the news team. Good night.